The E3 podcast series focuses on various topics around real estate and facilities management. eBiz helps organizations envision the future, enable processes and platforms, and evolve practices for continuous improvement. In this episode, we're going to have a conversation about the IWMS product from IBM, Tririga. I'm Tracy Jefferson, your host, and I'm joined today by Kal Gyimesi, a member of the IBM Tririga product management team. Kal, I really appreciate you joining me today so we can talk about Tririga and some of the things going. Tririga had quite a year last year, and we'll talk some more about that. But how about telling me a little bit about yourself?
Hey, Tracy, thanks for inviting me. I always like talking to you and catching up with you, and good way to start the new year. So I'm, as you know, Kal Gyimesi. I'm on the product management team for Tririga and have been for the last 5 or so years. So I'm leading a group called Product Success, which sort of branches off from product management. It has keeps one foot in product management and other feet in sales and marketing and account support and business partner support. So I sort of branch the whole ecosystem.
Oh, that must be pretty interesting to do because you're touching a lot of different areas.
It is. It's exciting and a job because it's always changing and always something new happening and always somewhere interesting to go. So have a lot of fun with it.
Well, I think there's probably a lot of people that have heard of Tririga. Of course, if you're in the IWMS world, you've probably heard of it. But why don't you give us a short overview of the Tririga product and what it brings to a company?
Sure. Tririga has been around for probably over 20 years now. IBM bought it back in 2011 it was independently owned previously. And Tririga is what's called an integrated workplace management solution. It's used typically by corporate real estate teams to optimize and manage their real estate portfolios and basically manage the whole gamut of the life cycle of what a facility does. Everything from support in making acquisition decisions, lease versus buy, managing leases, building out that space into however it's going to be used through either renovations or it could be new construction with capital projects and managing funding and vendors. And then once a facility is up and ready to run, then you have to divide up the space. So it manages all the space needs that a company has, whether it's going to be office space or lab space or manufacturing space or customer space. And then, of course, all the maintenance and upkeep of assets in the facility and about the facility. Finally, also sustainability is a big deal. Buildings are about 40% of emissions. So you have to monitor the energy usage and find strategies, especially in older facilities, to improve your emissions and reduce your energy needs. And then the last piece of it is ultimately the facility is about the people that are going to use it. And in corporate real estate, it's typically going to be your workforce and your employees. So the whole workplace experience, especially as we're bringing people back into the office after the COVID crisis, has been about putting self-service tools in the hands of employees and making the things that they need inside of a facility as easily available to them as possible.
It covers an awful lot of territory. And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, Tririga is certainly part of a larger sustainability software group of products from IBM. So it's like one piece of the puzzle where there's a lot of room for other things, other areas to grow into.
Yeah, we set up a new business unit called Sustainability Software, IBM Sustainability Software, probably about 3 years ago or so, and it has an entire portfolio of products related to all the things that enterprises need to manage their sustainability. So Tririga is one piece. I talked about buildings and facilities. Maximo is a complement that manages assets and complex assets and optimizes how they're used. And then you also, the other big component of sustainability improvement, one is your facilities, the other is how you ship and move product around. So optimizing your supply chain. And we have a supply chain intelligence suite that helps large companies with everything that they're moving, whether it's by air, or by ship, or by freight, all around. And then extending all the way out to the very beginning of whatever it is that you make. We have an engineering lifecycle management software that drives all your product development and your the platforms that you're developing on and so forth. So sustainability software runs that whole gamut from conceiving a product all the way through making it, where you're going to make it, and how you're going to ship it and move it as you deliver it to your customers.
It's definitely a big product suite. And in terms of Tririga, what are typical customers? Is there a particular market, particular size, particular geographic area? I mean, who are countries that are companies in countries that use it?
So Tririga is used all around the world, and integrated workplace management is used all around the world. It's most predominant in North America, but also in Europe, and then increasingly in Asia as well. Tririga is a cross-industry solution, so we have customers in every major industry, from certainly government at the federal or the state and local level, through retail, distribution companies, manufacturing companies, industrial companies, communications companies, even companies that are in the entertainment space, all use Tririga. They all have facilities. If you have customer-facing facilities, you may use it for some reasons. For one reason, if you have primarily a corporate infrastructure where your employees are using it, you may use it a little bit differently. But all the basic building blocks that I talked about, acquiring and disposing of facilities, converting them and building them out, managing the space, managing the maintenance, managing the sustainability, is a common theme no matter what industry you're in. If you're a
Yeah, and
big
it
company,
seems that Tririga has a great strength too around like lease management, because as we know, a lot of the lease accounting requirements around the world have evolved, and companies are making sure that they're compliant. And I know that's something that Tririga is very strong in.
yeah, sure. About 5, 6 years ago, the regulations for lease accounting changed dramatically, and leased assets had to go on your balance sheet. So we had customers who have 15, 20,000 plus leases, 25,000 plus leases around the world. And they had to all go on the balance sheet, which could be a big number. So you have to get it right. It's a huge company risk if you don't get it right. So being able to make sure that the disclosure reports and the accounting regulations and the accounting compliance for perhaps a very large lease portfolio are all correct.
Tririga has made some strides too in recent years in its user experience, because for a long time, it was kind of a typical, I don't know, somewhat old school look, if you ask me. And it's really evolved though. And now that there's a lot of customer control over that user experience, Tririga is much more adept at mobile experience. Can you maybe comment on that a little bit?
Sure. Yeah, we've put a lot of effort in the past, probably 4 or 5 releases, in improving the user experience with for Tririga, including the mobile experience. And um, one of the things that we have is what's called perceptive apps, which are web-based apps, um, which are a little bit different than native apps for iPhones or for Android. But web-based apps have a little more flexibility to them. One of the things is they're much easier to deploy, they're much easier to update. They're also much easier to customize and to modify. So when you buy Tririga from IBM, you may be working with any variety of business partners, including what you guys at eBiz, who would be deploying these apps for clients and then maybe customizing them specifically for the specific use that that client has for them. And that's one of the things that I think our clients really like about the Perceptive apps is the ability to tailor them and customize them and put front ends on them that make them work exactly for what they need rather than some generalized app.
That's great. That's very nice user experience. You know, that's a big deal because it helps with adoption rates and everything else if the users like what they see and how it works. Now, 2023 was an interesting year. A few years ago, quite a few years ago, actually, IBM sold the rights of the source code to another company who was taking it and working with it. But last year, IBM made what, in my opinion, is a very strategic decision to bring the source code home, if you will. They bought the source code back for Tririga. And I'm curious, you know, what does that mean to the product? And what does that mean for the existing users or potential users?
Yeah, so one of the things that it means to our product is that Tririga, the development process and the support process, even more importantly almost, will have the advantage of all the economies of scale that IBM has created and all the investments that IBM has created in development tools and in support tools. And that's one of the things that was probably previously a bit isolated. And now that we've brought that back in-house, we've been able to put that, we're putting in the process of putting that into our existing processes that other products share as well. And that should improve both development cycles and improve how we support our products. So we're excited about that. We've also made further enhancements and expansions of our product management team. So IBM is making investments in Tririga in order to bring an even better product to customers.
That's this sounds like actually a pretty exciting thing to have happened. And I'm curious then what I guess kind of maybe my final question actually is, so what can you tell us that's not confidential information or something about what's 2024 going to bring out there to the Tririga world?
Wow. So 2024 we think it's going to be an exciting year. We're going to bring a more complete TAS solution to the marketplace. And the Tririga application suite is becoming more and more popular with very large customers who've made the investments in IT and containerization that can take advantage of the flexibilities that TAS provides. So we want to finish that off and bring it to market. We're also bringing to market or releasing a new marketplace for our partners to be able to bring some of their solutions and make them available in the marketplace to a variety of customers that they can't reach right now. They can't reach it as easily right now because they may already be embedded with another business partner. But the marketplace will become a place where we have a lot of business partners that have created unique solutions that they'd like to be able to make more easily available to the existing Tririga customer base. So that will expand the capabilities of Tririga just by virtue of crowdsourcing some of the deployment solutions.
Yeah, that actually is interesting because that allows business partners, to bring unique solutions or their own ideas to the table without, as you said, having to be engaged necessarily at a particular company. And that ought to be interesting to see how that evolves and what business partners jump in there and what they bring to the table.
Yeah, so take a concept like the Perceptive apps that I spoke about earlier, that they can be customized and there are some business partners that have created some bespoke apps for a given industry, let's say, or for a given application within an industry, let's say facility condition assessment, or let's say the retail industry or the auto industry, whatever, it doesn't matter. They can offer that solution in the marketplace, and maybe other Tririga retail customers, as that random example, can buy that app perhaps and put it to use. That's something that comes much more difficult, is more difficult previously, but now that's going to be a more exciting place for customers to look for new solutions.
So one of the things that's really evolving and a hot topic today is AI. Where does AI fit into the Tririga solution potentially? Or actually in reality now already there's some AI integration.
Sure. There's so we do have some AI in some of our existing products. So something like Building Insights is using some AI and machine learning to optimize space utilization and tracking of where people are in a given facility. That's a little bit more a minor use of AI. One of the big things that IBM is putting their heft behind is Watson X, which
Right.
is a business-oriented capability for mass models for artificial intelligence. In Tririga, we're looking at some possibilities of where we can marry up Tririga with Watson X. And one obvious example is leases that we've started to explore. So you can imagine that we have some customers that have tens of thousands of leases. And many of these are 50-page documents, 100-page documents, perhaps. And some of them are very old. We have a customer that has leases that are still active from the 1950s and 60s. Very old. So certainly nobody can read through all these documents very easily and identify ways that they can optimize that lease portfolio and make modifications to that lease portfolio. So AI models, we're going to try to marry that up and have that provide some of the guidance that will go into Tririga and work together with Tririga as one example. Facility condition assessment and looking at maintenance records, very deep maintenance records. That's another place where AI could perhaps provide some information to optimize asset portfotfolios.
So now we'll see where that goes in 2024. Then maybe 2025, we bring some VR in here. Start looking at some other things, right? Well, we're going to walk through our building with maybe our AI. I'll take us on a tour through our digital twin to show us where it thinks a problem might be, right? You never know.
Exactly.
Lots coming. When you start merging AI and virtual reality together with digital twin technologies and things, there's a lot coming down the pike in this market.
We have more and more customers that are starting to use BIM models. A lot of them are still on CAD, but more and more are starting to use BIM models. So we think that in the next year or so, there will be a lot of opportunity for that as well.
Great. Anything I missed? Anything else you want to add about Tririga and IWMS and where things are going this year?
I don't think you missed anything, but one of the things that we want to do in Tririga is have Tririga work in concert with some of our other solutions a little bit more. So Tririga and Maximo coming together, we see facilities and asset management starting to converge a little bit. Both of them there's some areas of overlap already between the two, but there's also vast areas where these are distinct solutions. Another place is with Invisi, of course. Invisi is the acquisition we made about a year and a half ago now for enterprise-wide ESG reporting. Tririga had a component called Trees that we still have many customers that use Trees, which manages utility payments and sustainability inside of facilities. But this hooks up with Invisi, and Invisi is a solution across your entire enterprise. So once you get outside the facility space, into your supply chain and into some of the other social and governance components of ESG, then you want something that's broader than what Tririga provides, and that's where Invisi comes in. So we've started to build connectors between Tririga, Maximo, Invisi, and some other places to be able to share information and bring information together so that you can one-stop shop everything through IBM. That would be obviously our goal.
Well, I think it's more than one-stop shopping. IBM uses Tririga, Maximo, and Invisi together themselves. I mean, they literally use their own systems to prove it out. And for matter of fact, I understand the reason they bought Invisi's, they were a customer of Invisi and said, this product is so amazing, we just want the company, and then they tied it in with Tririga and Maximo, and they literally the IBM real estate team globally uses those products.
Yeah, IBM Global Real Estate has been undergoing a massive transformation over the last couple of years. Um, they were looking at an enterprise reporting tool. As you know, IBM has been putting out an environmental sustainability report since the 1990s. So long before ESG or sustainability became, buzz phrases that are used and thrown around a lot. IBM has been doing it since the 1990s. So you can go online and Google, IBM Impact Report or IBM Sustainability Report. You can see that report, all the way back to the 1990s, right alongside our annual financial reports.
Right.
So we see them as complementary and just as important. Um, IBM Global Real Estate was looking at an ESG solution. What they had previously was too labor intensive. I think they were. I don't know if they were using an actual package other than spreadsheets. Really, that's one of the big competitors of these kinds of enterprise solutions. Often is trying to get companies off of spreadsheets. And they did a big evaluation of more than a dozen companies, and they selected Invisi. They started using it, and they said, "We ought to own this thing." And they brought it to us. And after some negotiations, we ended up buying the company, and now putting that into, all the other enterprise solutions that we offer.
I have a scanned image of a letter going back into the 1960s from the then CEO of IBM, handwritten letter saying that this is actually very important to be part of environmental sustainability. They were even then talking about being environmentally responsible as a company going back into the 60s before anybody thought about ESG or all the terms we use today. But IBM has a long history of being an environmentally aware company. And
Yeah.
that's always very interesting.
Yeah, I'd love to see that. I hadn't seen that.
Yeah, I've got that on a computer, so I'll have to
Have a
find it.
scan, send it to me.
Yeah. Well, I really appreciate the time today. Thank you for talking about Tririga, and it'll be an interesting year, I think, for all of us in the IWMS world, and especially with Tririga and all that's going on with Invisi. Looking forward to it. And I am sure that we'll see you in person somewhere soon.
Sure, we will. Looking forward to seeing you. The IWMS space is growing, and we're expecting to have a great year.
Awesome.